Okay, so nice to see so many familiar faces. I hope you all are doing very well. Now, how many of you are the new folks? I'm meeting you for the very first time. Raise your virtual hands. Okay, so don't be scared. I just look scary. Nothing bad will happen to you. And Vish, what's your story? Where are you from?
Hello, sir. I'm actually from Gwalior, and I am just completing my graduation in my final year in Bachelor of Arts from Jivaji University, Gwalior.
Okay,
So, sir, I am
and are
a
you studying
member of.
pol science as well?
No, sir, I am not studying pol science. I am studying it for the first time.
Okay, very interesting. Delighted to have you amongst us. Vaibhav, what about you? What's your story? You can unmute yourself. Can you hear me, Vaibhav?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us
Hello,
about
sir.
you. What have you been doing?
Sir, actually, I'm a law student. I've been pursuing BCom LLB from Punjab University, Chandigarh, and now it's my final year.
Okay, very nice. So I'll talk to almost all of you in time to come. Sharat, Anas, Shubham, Animesh, Sahil, very glad to have you join us. A couple of quick points. The first is my internet is unstable. Don't worry. If that happens, it will reconnect and we will complete the class. So don't stress about that. And these are minor issues that may not distract me from the quality of the classes that we may deliver. Another thing is that the access to your learning portals will be granted next week. Okay. You're working with our third-party vendors, and this will be resolved by next week. You all will have access until 2028. Once classes are done, you will have access to recordings also. And you can watch those recordings for as many times as you like. In fact, personally, I may want you all to watch those recordings at least twice before your final examination. Those recordings will form the foundational base for everything that you may do. Who is this? Sejal, right? Request you to please resolve this and don't engage into this again. There will be some timers that you may see in your portal. Don't worry about it. It is done only for our internal reasons. It is done to ensure that there is no pirating of the content. It is done to ensure that you're not sharing your login IDs or passwords with others. If anyone is found illegally downloading, pirating, selling the content, it will be good for us, by the way. It will allow my legal team to then make some money out of it. They may file a few cases and they will get to some work. Otherwise, it's just taking the money. But anyway, please do not engage in all that nonsense. Focus on studies. Second thing is, if you have any concerns, any doubts, any qualms, any thoughts, any opinions, all those things should be emailed to just one email ID alone. and that is info@misfits.bet. No other email address is monitored. No other email address will be monitored. Okay. That is info@misfits.bet. All of you can raise your hands. You may raise your hands once you have questions. So today is an orientation day. The official classes will begin from 29th July onwards. Please do not worry. We have a lot of time to wrap up the syllabus as and when you appear for your mains. So 29th July gives you 2 weeks. But you will not be free for those 2 weeks. There are a few things that I may request you to do. Okay. First thing is very exciting. You may have to watch a few movies. So please note down a few names. And if you've watched these movies already, good. But rewatch these movies. The first is Gandhi, the one with Ben Kingsley. That's the one. Second would be Schindler's List. Schindler's List. Third would be Shawshank Redemption. Then would be Hotel Rwanda. Then Invictus. The last would be Pursuit of Happiness. Anyone who is bamboozled, why Naman sir is asking us to watch movies? And my assumption is all of you, none of you who is in this class is not appearing for the examination this year. So we have time. Yogita is bamboozled. Tell me why.
Sir, actually, my network is also unstable and I couldn't hear some of the names. So could you please repeat the list?
Okay. So the first is Gandhi. It's the movie that our Prime Minister also spoke of many, many days ago, although in a different context. Second would be Schindler's List. It's an old movie, but it's worth watching. Third would be Shawshank Redemption. Fourth would be Hotel Rwanda. And then there will be something called Invictus. Matt Damon is the actor, right? In Invictus. And last would be Pursuit of Happiness. Everyone heard it right? Savita? All good? Okay. Anyone who is bamboozled, why these names? What could be the reason? How does it even link to international relations and political science? So to all those who are meeting me for the very first time, you may have this question. But many of you, have been watching the recordings of the general studies. You may have some rationality to it. Anyone who wants to give it a shot? What could be the reason? Himanshu, after you.
Hi, sir. How are you doing? Sir, I think if we go for Gandhi, then it's for getting the context set, that what we will read and not in international relation and all. Otherwise, and also as a leader, he impacts us. And the other movies, I think like Shawshank Redemption or Pursuit of Happiness, it gives us some good lessons. Like Shawshank Redemption has, I think, a good dialogue that hope is the best thing, something like that. So I guess that.
Okay, that's interesting. Shipra, your thoughts?
But I think each of these movies will tie into our discussions later. Like I can imagine when Kingsley's Gandhi will tie into our conversation on India's colonial past and the colonial relationship
But mind
in the
you,
international
all these
history.
movies will have their own biases. You know, the direction, the production comes in with their own biases and narratives. But okay, good to hear your thoughts. Labdhi, what about you?
So I think all these movies will teach us to be human, like to build not an idea, but something will build inside of us through these
Okay.
movies.
With anything. Monica, I'm seeing you for the second time in MisFits journey. This happens only in the first classes, right?
I took a sabbatical from the live classes because it was not really working out for me, along with my timings and the grasping capacity. Recordings were working out better.
Okay.
And because I got the mail that these classes will not be recorded, so I took a break from work and I'm joining it.
No, we will record these classes.
Okay.
So you can
Anyways,
take a step
it's
back.
actually great to see you because I'm anyways connected with you because of all the recordings. I was doing quality, so it's not sounding new to be connected here.
Okay.
So my perspective on this list is that I think it's a combination of history and philosophy, how things evolve, and also a lot of the ends to means and means to ends concept. Especially Shawshank Redemption, Pursuit of Happiness, they tell us that things take time. Just do things in the right way. And Schindler's List and Gandhi is more of history and perspectives. So it's an interplay of things as to how the world has evolved.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see how all of that ties up. There's absolutely no need to take notes, as in when you watch these movies, enjoy the movies. If for some reason you don't feel like watching it or could comprehend it, don't do it. But if you're watching it, watch it with passion. No note taking, nothing. Otherwise, you'll kill the purpose of watching a movie. I just want all of you to foster some bit of empathy, think critically about those movies. And perhaps think of 3 reasons, as in when you watch those movies, why was I asked to even watch that movie? I could have asked you to watch Samvidhan or any history TV show, but I'm not doing that. I want you to give these movies some shot. And if you've watched these movies in the past, and I'm sure many would have watched it, rewatch it. But whatever, enjoy the next 2 weeks with all your heart. I'm not saying life will get difficult or troublesome after 2 weeks, but I may have more expectations from you as we proceed in the journey. So first, homework is clear. That's an easy one. Enjoy the ride. Second thing is that you all have to create a blog for political science and international relations. Today is what, Monday? By Wednesday, you need to send me your first blog. Why did you decide to enroll in Pol Science and IR at MisFits? That's your blog one. I don't care about word limits, 50 words, 10 words, 500 words. It's immaterial, but I want you to write this on your blog. It's very easy to create a blog. Blogspot. What else? Medium. Many sites are there. If you want to monetize it later, it could be Substack. It's good to write. And do send us the link of that blog. Now that link should be sent to a different email address. And what will be that email address? It will not be info@misfits.pet. It's for your queries. Just for blog and nothing else. You have to write this down to Archita. Archita, can you tell us your email address?
Yeah, so it will be Archita Global Governance Initiative.org. So I'll just spell it out. ARCHITHA @ Global Governance Initiative, no caps, .org. So just
Repeat the
repeating it
spelling
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. ARCHITHA @ Global Governance Initiative.org. No caps. So yeah.
Okay. So send this to Archita. And what Archita will do is she will save your blogs against your names. Now I am cognizant of the fact that for pol science, no matter what's your background, you have to fool the examiner into believing that you are perhaps the best student of pol science. And for that to happen, you may acquire a lot of knowledge, a lot of foundations. But if nothing of that translates into your answers, it's immaterial. So in subsequent classes, I may ask you to write a few answers. But it is not realistically possible to go through all the answers at one go. I may ask you to do some homework. So I'll randomly check your blogs just to see what homeworks are you doing and what you're not doing. I may pinpoint to some of the blogs showcasing the remarkable work that they have done in terms of answer writing or the way they have been structuring their thoughts. If you have zero foundations, don't worry. My assumption is you have zero foundations. If you have already taken classes of pol science somewhere, or if you're already master's, BA, or whatever, PhD in pol science, you are at a loss, believe me. Because you will do a lot of unlearning now. So if tomorrow I give you a homework on Gandhi or Chanakya, Mandal theory, or Hobbes, I want you to put that question, whatever question that is, as a heading and write down your answer. Archita, your hand is raised.
Yeah, Norman. Actually, perhaps it was just my internet, or I think we lost you at for a little while. And also the spelling would be ARCHITHAA. It's not just one A.
What is this, Archita?
Sorry. ARCHITH.
You don't even remember your email address. We should fire you now. You
No.
don't use it at all.
So just a AA, that's all. Just correcting it once again.
Okay, so please correct it. Repeat it again, Archita.
ARCHITHAA @ globalgovernance-initiative.org. So yeah, that will be all.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I think my connection, I said, is terrible. So I will go slow. I will repeat things. Don't stress. The reason I'm requesting you all to have a blog is simple because I want to go through your answers. If tomorrow I give you a homework on Gandhi or Chanakya or whatever, put that as a heading, write it down on your blog, and I will randomly check it. You need to be in a habit of writing answers, or at least a few things down before your prelims results are out. That's the habit I want you to develop. Of course, after prelims, we will change gears. That is needed. But until prelims, you should have written a few answers. Many of the MisFitters, they already have blogs, those who have been part of the general studies program. If that is the case and you are, lazy like me to create a new one, create a separate heading or a part in that blog where you mention political science and IR with Naman sir. It will give me a hint. That's where I need to check the answers. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. You can write things down over there. If there are certain things that you want us to urgently look into, you can email us at info@misfits.pet. If there are certain things that you think may perhaps add value or something that you've learned something remarkable in one of the classes, write us emails on info@misfits.pet. Okay. So first thing, watch a few movies. Second, have a blog post. Third thing is you need to pursue a hobby for at least 1 year. an interesting hobby. Could be anything. Ideally, I would want it to be a physical hobby. Gymming or cricket, badminton, swimming. It has to be a physical activity. Buy a membership. Figure out which one works for you. Sports is important in life. It teaches us a lot of things. It's a travesty that many people who will be remarkable in their UPSC preparation, they will fail to write the examination. I'm not saying they will fail in the examination. I'm saying they will fail to write the examination because they will not be able to handle the anxiety, pressure before the day of the exam. So take care of your physical health. Don't be in that nonsense debate that I will pursue my hobbies only after I am in the IFS. Taking out 30 minutes from your schedule, it's not a big deal. I tend to think of this examination as a war, not a battle. It's a war. A war will have many battles that you have to fight. If you win these battles, conquer over these battles on a daily basis, of course, you will lose many of these battles. But in the course of the journey, you have to win the eventual war. That's what I care for. Clear? As has happened in the past, our classes will be very slow in the beginning, 10, 15 classes, and thereafter we'll pick up the speed. It is needed so that everyone is on the same track. Not everyone comes up with the similar sorts of foundations or backgrounds. Some of you who have not been part of MisFits, general studies, you may not have certain background. It is my duty to ensure that at least in political science, you are performing, you are remarkable. So first class would be on 29th July, 6 p.m. IST. Why 6 p.m. IST? And of course, timings will change in the future also. And I'll tell you why that is important. But for now, it's 6 p.m. As we begin with the module, I want almost all of you to attend these classes live, at least for a month. I don't want any of you to have excuses that I have my internship going on or my job. There are many who are working professionals. There are many who are already in some kinds of services. 6 p.m. seems to be an ideal time as it allows you to complete all your day's tasks. And then you can attend the live class without any other conflict. This is a bare minimum I expect. Live classes for initial 1 month, bare minimum. Of course, I want you all to attend these classes forever, at least until we wrap up the syllabus live. Those who attend live, they will benefit the most. But I want to create an ecosystem where at least all of you have gone through the live sessions with me. But this is non-negotiable. So for all those who work, you have no excuse. For all those who stay at home, you should have no excuse. My assumption is that you would have slept well by 6 p.m. at least, after all the afternoon naps. So I see Savita's hand raised. Go on, Savita. What's the question?
Sir, I just said I'm newcomer.
Sorry?
Like I'm a new admission. Like I'm newcomer.
Okay, so everyone is, it's the first day for everyone. So
Yes,
let me
sir.
ask you a question.
Right.
Why are we here?
Yes.
What's the reason?
Just to we have admitted for the political science and IR to get like guidance from you and to get a deep knowledge regarding PSIR and to get a good marks in optional PSIR.
Okay, you're here for the guidance, get good marks. None of that is the reason. And it's very critical for all of you to understand this. You all are here for one reason alone. That is to fetch the highest ever marks in this beautiful subject. political science, and international relations. My personal target is 320 plus. It is possible, so that I can glorify the journey at MisFits. Good marketing material for me. But 300 plus is actually practical. Almost all of you should be getting beyond that. And please notice the word fetch. All the misfitters, they understand the meaning of this word fetch. I've told this time and again through my videos, multiple discussions. No one in this life will give you things. You have to fetch things. Look at the government, fetches money out of you via taxes. So to fetch things. The kind of competition, the world that we live in, this becomes important. Your every answer, your every analysis, your every quote in the answers, your every diagram, yes, you have to draw diagrams also, should reflect that you're fetching marks, giving your all in. Prelims is a qualifying paper. And I'm 100% sure as long as you're focusing on the foundational episodes of MisFits or GS and combining those with test series, there is no power on earth that will stop you from clearing prelims. Many of you saw this already this year. You were trained phenomenally well to form conjectures. And we also saw, real examples of how that ability ensured that you're getting the right answers in your examination. But we all should realize that prelims is merely a qualifying paper. You will not get medals for cracking prelims. There are so many aspirants who crack prelims and they fail mains. Even if they fail mains, they don't find the name in the list. This happens. And that is a deplorable situation. Cracking prelims is not the only thing. You will never get medals for cracking it. If you failed this year's prelims, it's fine. The exam should be cracked in one go. It should not become a 5-year plan. Your rank, your cadre, your service preferences, possibly your life for next 30 years, it will be decided based on your performance in your mains examination. And it is in that context what becomes important. Your optional, those significant marks. Your essay, your interview, you all will see averaging in GS mains. Especially if you're done with foundations at MisFits, you will see a score ranging around 400 plus. For practice tests, much better than that. But if you do not perform well in optionals, all that hard work down the drain. You will not see the name in the list. And believe me, getting 800, 900, 700 rank, it's not worth it. Keep on telling your grandkids, kids that they prefer the same examination that the ambassador appeared for. So please aim to top this examination, and this will not happen if you are not focusing on your optional. Optionals will form the key to it. And the perfect time to prepare for optional is between August till March, April, plus 2 to 3 months after your prelims. I do not want you to dedicate more than 2 to 3 hours on your optionals per day. What average is around 21 hours per week. That's it. Not more than that. In fact, I would want you to spend more time on your general studies. 4 hours on general studies, regardless of your preparation level. Focus on GS also. 4 hours GS, 2 to 3 hours optional until December. Follow through on this. The optional that we have, it overlaps immensely with general studies anyway. However, some foundational learnings should be incorporated in optional that we have chosen to get a better score. For that, dedicate at least 2 hours on a daily basis. Not more than that, not less than that. From January onwards, you can still stick with 2 hours for optional. but 6 hours or 7 hours for GS. That is extremely important. We will begin the journey with international relations module. So newspaper reading becomes fun. And I'll tell you the reason why we are choosing IR to begin with theories. But I want you all to see this video from MisFits. Yes, here's the video.
My heart is saying, I'm just emptying my heart here. I'm not being overconfident, sir. Sir, I feel that I'm definitely getting selected. My rank will be under 200.
So should we party already? We can
No, no,
host
no.
your party. We can do something around that.
No. I am just saying that I will get selected. I am feeling that, and my rank will be under 200. And sir, I do not know why I am saying this. This may sound like flamboyant, but sir, I feel that I can be in top 20 also. I'm just feeling that.
This was like 5-6 days before the eventual results got out, and he saw the name in the list. Of course, he was not under 20, but under 60. I want all of you to be in that same position. You should be in a position to define your rank. When UPSC declares the results, it should be a mere formality. Because in your heart, you know that you will be getting a good rank. That is what preparation means. Decide your own rank, decide your own services. And whether you like it or not, optionals will play a very, very crucial role in doing that. So as we begin with this journey, you may have many questions. What books to read or download? What notes to download? Don't worry about all that nonsense. I will do all the tasks for you. My only request would be to entirely rely on the MisFits episodes. Make your own notes from MisFits episodes. Revise those notes, re-revise those notes. Do that multiple times. I don't care what are your foundations. Negative foundations, zero foundations. Does not matter. I can vouch for whatever we will deliver in these sessions. You're bound to perform exceptionally well as long as you're focusing on the process. Process becomes the key. Anyone who is having this idea that I have not watched polity episodes yet, I don't know how I will understand whatever I may study in this module. Anyone with that doubt? Divyansh?
Yes, sir. I actually joined the MisFits in this July only, 1st of July. So I have watched like 10, 12 episodes of Polity, and I'm not sure if I will be able to make the best use of this
10, 12
live
episodes,
sessions.
that's a good number. What all have you learned? How are you finding it?
Sir, it is very good. I have done like 28 episodes till now in total.
Okay. It's not just you. Many will have this concern. Please do not worry about all that. My request would be, even with zero foundations, zero knowledge, it is my duty to ensure that you are learning things in the optional. So we will begin with foundations. Of course, in the market, there are some category of notes that everyone goes through, reads through, But just imagine, ask yourself, if everyone is studying and copying notes from the same source, where does your differentiation lie? Because at the end of the day, in your optional subject, you have to be amongst the 1%. If everyone is following through on the same sources, there is no differentiation. So it is my duty to ensure that you are differentiated from those innumerable candidates for wasting their time in Old Rajinder Nagar, cramming from same source. So please do not worry what your peers are doing. Just follow through on the basics of MisFits, revise those basics, re-revise those basics. That is it. What I'm requesting you to do. And if you have zero foundations, don't worry about that. We will begin the classes in phases. Any questions, anyone up until now? Like I said, I just look scary. Ruchir?
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Sir, can you please repeat the name of the movies which you told us to watch? Because I joined late. I'm working from home, so I had something.
Okay, anyone who can assist Ruchir here? Snesh, can you?
Yeah, sure. The first one was Gandhi.
Okay.
The second one was Schindler's List.
Okay.
Third one was Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Fourth one was Hotel Rwanda.
Okay.
Fifth one was Invictus. And the last one was Pursuit of Happiness.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Shubham, your question?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Hi, everyone. So, sir, first of all, I would like to really congratulate you to doing such a great job. Not just job, I would say that is a very good initiative that you and your team is doing. So I will actually say more about it, but later, maybe. So my question is, sir, so you said that going forward, we will be changing the timings of class. Okay. So would that be after 6 p.m. IST or how it's going to be?
No,
And
before
another
6 p.m.
question
6 p.m. is the latest that we can go. In fact, I prefer to have productive mornings. I don't prefer to work in evenings. But in the interest of those who cannot attend these live classes, I want to ensure that at least for a month, they attend it live, month or two. So don't stress, it will be
Yeah,
all,
sir,
fine.
Yeah, sir. So actually, I'm also a working professional, so that is why I was asking this question. Apart from that, sir, I also actually have a look at the videos. I'm also the part of video recorded community of MisFits, and that's really great as well. So I've seen that the timing and the duration of lectures has been somewhat trimmed in some parts in middle. So what is the actual duration of live classes that we do at MisFits? Live classes. Is it around 3 hours or 2.5?
Okay, good question. It depends upon the content. There are certain topics that I can sit with you all for 48 hours and deliver the classes end to end. But the goal is to ensure that you are learning. You're getting your foundations sorted. It's not just wrapping up the syllabus. There are innumerable instances when people have wrapped up the syllabus of all science and then they again rejoin the same classes. Makes no sense. They have no idea what they studied. They just took the notes. So for certain topics, we may discuss issues for 2 hours. For certain topics, we may discuss issues for 30 minutes. Because it is imperative that you have clarity in certain areas, certain philosophers, before we proceed further. So there will not be any standard timeline to it, but approximately 1 to 2 hours is what we are aiming for. Soumya?
Hello everyone. Hello sir. I also Shubham mentioned, I also come from the batch that just started
getting access to the recordings. So I'm from that cohort, and I just there are certain things personally going on that are coming in between of my preparation. Like even after getting access of the recordings and now joining PSIR, I think by the time I'm able to consistently sit and prepare, it would be end of August. So just wanted to ask that if you could share a timeline that would be also like for pre and then looking at mains, just with the months, like by this month we should be covering up this much portion or something like that for especially like prelims.
Can you hear me now? Okay. It's a good question. So the first thing is that for prelims, syllabus is already wrapped up. Now it's upon you on how do you complete it. My advice would be watch at least 2 to 3 videos per day, make notes out of it, and follow through on that process on everyday basis. Please have achievable targets, practical targets. That will ensure that you are staying consistent, you're learning, you're growing. Do not have those unachievable targets. Otherwise, you will lack the motivation to study. Don't have those scenarios where you're studying for one day, for 15 hours, the other day you're studying for 1 hour, or not studying at all. That is nonsense. Don't do that. At least till December, January, in fact, till February, study for 4 to 5 or maximum 6 hours GS and couple of hours of pol science, along with 45 minutes of newspaper reading. 45 minutes, not a minute less, not a minute more. For pol science, I think I initially thought that I will wrap up the syllabus at one go. But in my mind, what I'm realizing is that will be a wrong thing to do. The best time to then improve on the foundations and wrap a few concepts would be immediately after your prelims examination. So I may meet you during that phase also. So I'm saying that out loud right now, because that is when you will benefit the most from interactions with me. If I can tell you that I'll wrap up syllabus by December and then you don't see me, of course, you may feel happy for some time, but in the longer journey, it's not in your own benefit. Because you may need me the most around that time when I'm not available. So I'll try my best to wrap up syllabus as early as possible, but some part of it will be reserved for that phase. Okay, I'll come back to others in some time. But how many of you are writing mains this September? One second. Okay, good. So if you are writing mains this year with pol science as the optional, I should be brutally honest with you. The journey that we may start today, it may not be for you. Of course, you will benefit immensely, no doubt about that. You would learn new concepts, you will acquire a few profound skill sets. And those skill sets will directly, indirectly help you in various papers of general studies, optionals, even essays. But ideally, this beautiful journey is for those who are aiming to clear the examination in 2025, 26, 27, 28, or thereafter. Okay. So if you are aiming to write PSIR this year, this room may not be for you. The journey that we may start today, it's not a crash course. This endless pursuit for crash courses will definitely crash your life. Shortcuts rarely work in life. Of course, I can tell you, Look at past year's papers, learn those answers. You will see a pattern. Quote a few philosophers. This is the way to write introduction. This is the way to criticize a few theories. But all of those are shortcuts. They are helpful, but not at this stage. At this stage, you have to focus on foundations. Shortcuts will not work in real life. We saw what happened to one of the shortcutters, Pooja Kedkar. Shortcuts got her into the services, but at 32 years of age, she will have a disgraceful fall. Why? Because she focused on shortcuts. So build strong foundations. It does not mean that I will not use tactics and hacks of shortcuts for your mains. We will do that for revisions and test papers. But at this stage, you have to understand this beautiful subject. I will not request you at this stage to analyze toppers' copies. I may request you to do this at a later stage. As of now, you may not learn anything from that. So if there's just one advice I can give to my younger sibling, it would be to please focus on foundations. The journey that we may start today, it is going to be a foundational experience, and it has to be. If your foundations are weak, you will never thrive in life. And I'm not kidding. Why are foundations important? To all those who have already been part of MisFits GS module, you know this already. You know this very well, how geographies create economies. How economies create empires. But in the end, it is always the polity that will sustain the empire. The foundations of geography will lead to creation of foundations of economies. Foundations of economies will create the empire. But in the end, it will always be polity that will help you sustain the empire. This statement may mean nothing to some of you today, and that is totally fine. But over the course of time, you will realize how valuable this statement is. In fact, let me take some time off to explain you. Think of Romans and the Mesopotamians. Even if you have not studied history ever in life, we all have heard of certain civilizations, right? The Harappans, Mesopotamians, Egyptians. Many, many, many years ago, what was Mesopotamia? It's a cradle of civilization. Why did that happen? Does the answer directly lie in the political science? No. It begins with geography. In our discussions of pol science and IR, we will have discussions around geography, around economy. Even today, Joe Biden's future hinges upon what is happening in Saudi Arabia. As of now, I don't think you can make connections, but you just need to analyze the policies of Mohammed bin Salman. And you will get your answer who he wants to be in power in the US. This geography should be analyzed. Mesopotamia was the land between the two mighty rivers, Euphrates and Tigris. It was that geography that provided reliable water sources for irrigation. And this simple geographical fact alone, it set many growth dynamics for Mesopotamia. Why? What happened because of that? Because these rivers are not just source of irrigation. These rivers also serve as natural highways. Natural highways for transportation of goods, people, and most importantly, ideas. What do you think will happen next? This will naturally facilitate trade with the neighboring regions. Those regions will then become the hub for exchange of goods, exchange of ideas, exchange of technologies. So it was the geography of Mesopotamia that was fundamental in shaping its economy. And mind you, Mesopotamia was not alone. Look at any civilization. Can you think of any? And tell me why geography shaped that civilization, created the economy to begin with. Egyptian? What's the beauty of Egyptians? Himanshu?
Well, we have our own Indus Valley civilization. Because of the Indus River, it flourished. It became the epicenter for the global trade and connectivity with all the Mesopotamian and other civilizations.
Yeah. See, one bad thing is that parts of the Harappan culture have gone down to Pakistan. Some parts of it. But yes, today that state is in a state of begging bowl. But before I talk about Pakistan or America, think of Egyptians. Can you all hear me now? Archita, am I audible?
Yes, you are. No.
What was the last thing that I said?
I don't think. Sorry.
Snesh. So you need to be engaged because I have a terrible connection today. Yes, Snesh.
Sir, after Himanshu's answer, we lost you.
Okay. So Himanshu was talking about Harappans. Then I would have said Pakistan. And the minute I said Pakistan, my internet connection went off. See the algorithms used by the government. But yes, I mean, the parts of Harappan civilization are in that begging bowl today, the begging bowl of Pakistan. Before I talk about Pakistan or America, let's see from the history. Look at the Egyptians. They immensely benefited from Nile River. Nile was the lifeblood for the Egyptian civilization. The fertile Nile Valley, the wheat, the barley, was life and blood for that civilization. There was a reason why Egyptians were trading gold, linens, grains back in the days. Because Nile also was the means for transportation. Mesopotamia is not alone, Egyptians are not alone. From Harappans to Mings to Mauryans to even Mayans. They all immensely benefited from the geography to create an economy. Today, some of us are in awe of the US. Of course, US will have its downfall in some time. And we will practically analyze the reasons why that will happen. Looks like Bihar election these days in US. The gun violence. But whether we like it or not, fact of the matter is US is still the economic powerhouse. No? From every indicator, US is still the powerhouse. Just look at the top 5-10 companies in your the global market cap level. Remove the Saudi Aramco's, Apple, the Tesla, Microsoft, Alphabet, all are US based. Why did US become this economic powerhouse? Snesh?
So the Mississippi River system.
Yeah.
That we talked about.
The beautiful Mississippi system. The Midwest is the breadbasket of the world, the US. Not just that, from oil to coal to natural gas to timber to minerals, these are all natural resources that are natural to the US. And those resources have fueled industrial growth. Energy independence, what an important term, shapes the geopolitics. If you think about it, US also has this mighty gift of how it is surrounded by two very vast oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. So we cannot understand political science and international relations if we cannot look at the map. This mere fact provides US remarkable freedom, provides significant protection from foreign invasions and conflicts. This geographic isolation allows the US to develop freely in a way. And we will analyze that story as we cover the episodes of Cold War and the World War II. Look at the neighborly relations with Canada. I wish we all had neighbors like Canada. Half our resources, half our rhetorics are gone to waste and dust by fighting with the Chinese and the Pakistanis. Hamza Alawi will come and talk about a few things. But yes, Nesh was right. US also has this mighty river, a navigable river, Mississippi. It has ensured a waterway that has historically facilitated not just internal trade, but also external trade. And all of that has boosted the economic integration and development of those 50 states. So I hope all of you are getting a clarity again. The foundations of geography will create economy. But if economy is created, what happens next? You all get a sense that economy depends upon geography. But once foundations of economy are sorted, what happens next? Sharma?
Good evening, sir. So as you said earlier, economic leads to polity that sustains the nation.
Okay, Richard?
Sir, expansion, because once you have resources and once your own systems and your own industries are settled, now you would want to expand and exert influence over the regions which we have seen in history time and time again.
Okay. So you are in a way developing your economy now. And once your economy is developed, something remarkable happens. I was in Athens a few days ago. Someone told me that I've not checked this fact yet, but I can get a sense. Someone told me that of approximately 11 million people in Greece, 6 million reside in Athens. From all the folks from islands, the Corfu and the Crete, they all travel to Athens for work, for jobs, for opportunities. That's the domestic economy of Greece, depending upon Athens. What is happening? Migration of some kind from islands to Athens. As economy grows, migrations will happen. What is the reason why there's a huge Indian community in Silicon Valley, in Seattle, in Austin? Did they go there for food, for weather? They went there in quest for education, in quest for jobs. That is how and why migration happens. Today, there is a lot of talk about Nalanda University in Bihar. Any thoughts on Nalanda University? Our Prime Minister said that revival of Nalanda University will happen. This revival will onset the golden age for India. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on if Nalanda will it be able to compare or compete with Harvards and Whartons and Stanfords of the world? Will that happen? Kripa?
I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are.
So, provided we are able to bring the people from outside or within India, those who are research is given a free hand along with innovation.
Okay.
And
but I'm very happy with Kripa's answer. He's optimist. But Machiavelli will teach us that we need to be realist in life. We can't be Nehruvian all the time. See, to analyze Nalanda University, the future of Nalanda University, you don't have to look at faculty. You again have to look at the geography. I know today it has become a crime to be brutally honest. But the fact of the matter is, Bihar today is in a different trajectory in comparison to Silicon Valley or Boston. Unlike Boston or Silicon Valley, Bihar lacks strong local job market. Why would an American or Italian want to come and study in Nalanda today? Forget about physical infrastructure. Think about social infrastructure. A minute a white-skinned woman sets foot in Bihar, they're gawked over by innumerable eyes, and not their fault at all. Because anyone who is an alien in that sense will be gawked over. They're different. When I lived in Boston, in 6 streets around me, there lived more than 100 nationalities. And that is perhaps the reason when you are given a choice, when you are given a choice between Nalanda versus Harvard, you will choose Harvard. So what is the reason why it is the dream of every IITian to do a master's from Harvard or Stanford, not from Nalanda University in Bihar? Why don't they go to IIM Bodh Gaya? The reason is simple: geography creates economies. Economies create empires. There are more jobs, more opportunities in New York and Boston than in Bihar. Start thinking beyond rhetorics. But my question is, what happened to Bihar? Bihar was also cradle of civilization once upon a time. We all know this. Land of great historical, cultural, intellectual prominence, no? Today, in just 1 month, what happened to that land? 14 bridges have collapsed, by the way, in just 1 month. We may blame who has to maintain. By that logic, we'll embroil ourselves in the blame game. 14 bridges in 1 month. So do you really think anyone in right minds in New York or London would want to send their kids to study in Bihar? Into a land where a tiny bit of monsoons, you see dwindling of bridges. From infant mortality rates to maternal mortality rates. Bihar is on a different trajectory, even from national average standpoint. Forget about the international standards. They're not matching the national standards, national average. I'm not saying this, Niti Aayog has said this. Today, the Bihar has 0.3 hospital beds per 1,000, no, per 10,000. Yeah, 0.3 hospital beds per 1,000 population. What does that mean? For every 10,000 people in Bihar, there are only 3 hospital beds. That's it. So what is happening in Bihar today? People are moving out of Bihar. They're traveling to Mumbai. Are they loving it? No, they're forced to do it. No one wants to stay in that region. But once upon a time, even this land of collapsing bridges was also mighty civilization. Why did that happen? When did that happen? Anyone knows the story? Divyansh?
It was due to the river system and Gangetic plains. It cradled the Mauryans,
Yeah.
the Mahajanpadas.
Very good. Bihar was at the heart of Magadha Empire. Mauryans, the Guptas, they both had capitals in Bihar. And today there's mass migration happening out of that state. But back then, people were coming in Bihar. Nalanda University back then attracted students, scholars from China, Korea, Japan, Tibet, Mongolia, Turkey, Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka. All of that written, said, dictated by foreign observers, if we do not believe our own sources. And perhaps geography of Bihar had an answer there. Ganga plains of Bihar, one of the most fertile regions of the world. Alluvial soil, abundance of water availability. People need food to survive. Population thrives when there is food. Bihar was that land. And whenever there is inflow of migrants, what do you think will happen? You will see growth of knowledge economy. If I were to invest in countries today, I will look at this parameter. Is it immigrant friendly or not? Just look at the most valued startups again in the US. Look at Alphabet, Google. Alphabet is the parent company of Google. It's what's called as alphabets. You know, alpha is a thing that you use in market. They were taking alphabets. One of the founders is Russian, Sergey Brin. Elon Musk is from South Africa, very well settled in the US. The payment company of Stripe, again, the immigrants from Ireland started that. They were now both based in the US. Peter Thiel, who is supporting a presidential candidate today, is from Germany. Palantir is what he founded. Vinod Khosla, Apurva Mehta, all from India, well settled in the US, running billion-dollar ventures. Vinod Khosla's father served in the Indian Armed Forces. He studied in Sainik schools for time being. Bihar sensed something similar back in the heydays. If America today is leading the charge in building unicorns, back in the days, land of Bihar saw the emergence of ideas. And those ideas were remarkable. Those ideas were beyond the profitability frameworks. The goddamn religions were getting promoted here. Buddhism, Jainism. But then what happened to Bihar? So we get a sense how relevant geography is, how economy gets created, how then it works as a magnet of one kind. But then what happened to Bihar? What went wrong? I agree we need to be optimistic about our country, but we also need to be realistic about it. And there is no shame in being realistic about it. Understanding where did we fail. No need to live all the time in past glories. Shipra?
I'm from Bihar. So, from my own experiences and what I've heard from my family experiences, Bihar has suffered losses on both the geographic, economic, and social aspects. Geographically, when Jharkhand was separated, the areas that were rich in natural resources largely were cut off. Economically, the governments that arrived after then were not very keen on promoting industrialization, on incentivizing industries to come and set up in Bihar. Politically, the society is fragmented on caste lines. We have not been able to overcome that fault line yet. So everything is in a mess.
See, look at the mess of Bihar. That Shipra has a structure to it. In a structured format, she's explaining the fall of Bihar. Yeah, the land embroiled in the nonsense of caste, religion, corruption, criminal gangs, questionable political funding, and whatnot. Of course, this happened at a later stage, but even during the Guptas, it was a golden age for Bihar. The Huns, the Turkish, the Afghans, Bihar was facing innumerable invasions. Bakhtiyar Khilji, was he the one who destroyed Nalanda? Nalanda got destroyed. Centers of learning were destroyed. And with the decline of centers of learning, there was a decline in intellect, decline of culture. And then, of course, then came the British, who then extracted resources out of Bihar. Today, the founder of Vedanta is from Bihar. He's a UK citizen, but he says that he's from Bihar. Extract resources from Bihar. Pays taxes in UK. And Bihar is not alone. Romans, Persians, Mings, they all had one thing in common. And what is that? They all suffered from bureaucratic corruption, revolts, and then, of course, external invasions. Those invasions will happen as long as you're internally divided. You will see a similar story when you watch that movie, Hotel Rwanda. What's happening in Rwanda? Thousands of years ago, they were the Mings. Today, they are the modern day Zimbabwe, Lebanon, Venezuela, Pakistan. I know we all have seen Pakistan. What a waste of a marvelous civilization. Legit, they were growing faster than India in some parts of decades. I know it's hard to believe, but that's the reality. At a time when Indian economy was facing the so-called Hindu growth rates, which I tend to think is a useless term, Pakistan was growing very fast. Not just economically, but also in social indicators. Karachi was a marvelous city. Islamabad was marvelous. See how planned it was built. And it's not a surprise why Pakistan was growing. The geography was remarkable. The fertile plains in Punjab, Sindh provinces. Look at the strategic location for the Americans, for Pakistan. They were using and leveraging that geography to carve out their economy. But today, that land is on a deathbed. We may be happy, but in all reality, there is a consequence for India also. And will decipher India's nuclear foreign policy. In all our mature democracies, states control the military. But in Pakistan, a unique phenomenon happens. Military controls the state. And therefore, it's not a surprise why state of Pakistan is internally weak. It is a sold-out state to China. Before China, it was the Americans. What is the reason why there are multiple coups in Pakistan? Ayub Khan to Zia-ul-Haq to Pervez Musharraf. In Pakistan, if you were to become a prime minister, only three things can happen to you. Either you are jailed like Imran Khan, or you flee like the Sharifs and Musharrafs, or you're assassinated like the Bhuttos. That's the retirement for the Pakistani prime ministers. So throughout the episodes of our political science and IR, we'll see this transition. Of course, our journey will begin with IR. But up until now, any questions, anyone? Or any thoughts? This is just an orientation. Formal classes will begin from the date that I've mentioned. Go on, Kripa. You're raising two hands.
Sir, what was the rank of your previous student, sir, and what was his optional subject, sir? Sorry,
Okay. I don't remember the exact rank. I think it was in 50-ish rank, something. And his optional was not pol science. I think it was public administration, but I could be wrong. Soumya?
So just coming back to the point of like Pakistan, you mentioned that we look at it as a sold out state to different, ventures. It could be the US and it could be any other political entity. But just so even if that is the case, like those sold out states also, the governors of that particular sold out state would want some stability. Like I'm just like some question in my mind goes on to say that why is that so unstable? Like if you are a sold out state, then how is your governor wanting so much instability? Because isn't that like difficult for them also to maintain? Like what I tied from all our discussion is that polity is the reason why these epicenters of so much knowledge and culture have died down. So like even in the case of Pakistan, if you could just mention it.
No, I didn't get the question.
So that, like you said, that if Pakistan like has turned into a sold out state, the buyer of whatever the sold out state we're mentioning here, wouldn't they also want some sort of stability in the sold out state itself?
So buyer of the state, like China and the US?
Yeah.
Okay. You're so naive, Soumya. Why would Americans or Chinese want stability in Pakistan?
So for governance, like even if they're indirectly governing, okay, I get it now. That person, like they don't want it to be stable because that person can then.
No, I mean, it's immaterial for them if Pakistan is stable or not. That's not what their concern is. Chinese Communist Party will care for China, not for Pakistan. Any action, any inaction should be for China. In fact, the fundamental tenets of India's foreign policy is what? Domestic transformation of our own economy, of our own society. Do we care about Afghanistan? Of course, we'll weave stories about Afghanistan in our foreign policy. But our politicians are answerable to our people. They are not answerable to folks in Pakistan or Afghanistan. Same story in America or elsewhere. They may weave stories around it. America may weave a story in the 70s around Iran. What kind of state should it be? But they were in the game of putting in puppet rulers across the world. And we'll discuss that when we start the episodes of Cold War. How that happens. How satellite states were created. Sharma S, what's your name?
Sharma, sir. From Tamil
Sharma is your
Nadu.
name?
Yes, just Sharma.
Okay.
There's a reason for my name, sir. Sir, actually, you talked about the Bihar. I'm from Tamil Nadu in Tiruvannamalai. Around 40 to 50 people in my village working from Bihar. I asked him, why are you coming here? Don't you have any job in Bihar? They said, no, we don't have any job in my state. And then he said he earned only 200, maximum 250 per day. But here he earns 600 to 700. I asked him why. He just replied, corruption takes place. I was like, I don't have any words to say to him, sir. How do you see this, sir?
Yeah, see, these are the questions that I've raised right now. And as we discussed Chanakya, as we discussed the Arthashastra, he will have many interesting points to note around corruption. One thing that you need to understand is, see, in general studies and prelims, you can scrape through with learning facts. But in the optional subject, you need to be in a position to analyze those facts. And those analyses will happen via means of these philosophers and thinkers and theorists. In the examination, I will teach you, I'll tell you how to even quote these theorists to make the examiner into believing that you know the answer. But good questions, good observations, and continue to observe the world. That is important. Divyansh?
So my question was that, like I said earlier, that I have joined this MisFits in July 1st. So what should be my schedule to follow till the 29th of July?
See, I think, so are you part of the general studies program also?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in that case, you need to just wrap up the homework that I've given you in terms of the movies and stuff, the blog. Other than that, follow through on the schedule that you have to follow for general studies.
So
You
like 4
cannot,
subjects alternatively.
yeah, you cannot neglect those subjects at all.
Okay, sir.
Do not make that mistake of just focusing on one subject for your entire preparation. Even for GS, keep on rotating these subjects. Monday, polity, Tuesday, economy, Wednesday, history. Keep on rotating it. That we will finish the subjects also, and you will learn things, grasp things. At the end of the day, you will realize it takes similar amount of time. Okay, so the core subjects of polity, economy, geography, history, prop it up and continue to go through it. General studies will remain important. Of course, pol science will ensure that you get a good rank, but GS is also critical. Vishali?
Good evening, sir. So in the starting of the class, my internet connection was a little weak. So I wanted to ask this about what is this about 29th of July, and will there be classes on Saturdays and Sundays?
Okay. There can be classes on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's where it goes. In the beginning, I told you that our formal classes will begin from 29th July onwards, 6 p.m. IST, and I gave you reasons and rationales why we are doing that. And for the next 2 weeks, what all should you do? We will see if we can upload this recording, and this should be out and up as soon as possible. You all will also have access to these recordings. So please watch through it as and when that happens. But the first lecture of international relations will take place on 29th July. Procher?
Hi, good evening, sir. Sir, so I briefly wanted to share my experience of the GS format. So, because I'm from the recorded community only, and then ask a follow-up question because that has been going like I was having this doubt. So the experience have been really beautiful, and for like it's been one of those few times that I am finding myself naturally grasping information and particular nuances that you had told that are very important. So that is all set. Just to give you a context about my current life situation, I am a working professional, and my job eats significant portion of my day, which like I get free about 6 p.m. and then I set to study at like 7ish, and I get almost 6 to 7 hours in total before I sleep for the day. So within that time, it is becoming increasingly difficult to manage the GS portion. Now, it's not a like I just wanted to ask you, how do you think should I like go about it? Because one fundamental thing that I'm noticing is in order to have a good feeling after watching the sessions, I am spending a lot of time while watching a single section and making notes. So what my strategy is, I just watch the recording, and in between I pause, I jot down my thoughts and my experiences. I write that down, and I want to make my notes as holistic and as profound as I can make them. So in that process, if there is a video of 2 hours, it is taking me 3.5 hours for history at least. Now I know that polity and geography, science and tech, these particular subjects have less runtime, the videos, but I just wanted your take on it, because in order to finish one particular video, one particular subject, I'm taking a lot of time. So
Okay. And what is your background, Richard? What have you done?
I am environmental, like I've done my engineering in environmental engineering from DTU. And I have just completed 1 year of my like total work experience. It's my first job.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, my advice would be there will be no standard approach to it. So for those who have absolutely zero background in economy, my advice is write down everything, whatever I'm speaking. I am held accountable for that. It is my responsibility that you are scoring whatever you need to score in your economy. If you have no background in polity, write down everything that I'm saying. But my request would be to read, reread, re-revise things in the same source again and again. In the first instance, your notes would be a bulky book. But right before your mains examination, it should not be more than 1 page or 2 pages per subject. Okay. For history, what I can say is since we have covered things so holistically, even if you're engaging in debates in the classes, just note down the patterns, the trends of history, the timelines of history, the reasons and rationalities of it. No need to write down everything in history. Rather, I would want you to revise history for prelims via question papers, past year papers. We have done this already for economy. We have done this already for geography and polity and other subjects. But for history, I want you to do that exercise. Okay. So go through the episodes and then learn things from the past year papers. If you are finding something new in those papers, make notes out of it. But no need to go beyond it. MisFits plus past year papers should suffice for past 10-15 years. In the end, before prelims, I tell you to solve a few other test series, and we'll talk about that closer to the date or at this stage. But the non-negotiable would be at least once all of you should have gone through those foundational episodes of general studies before you go on to solve those papers also. If you're strong with foundations, learning from those papers becomes very easy. Revising from those papers becomes very easy. But foundations should be in order. That is non-negotiable. Monica, after you.
Yeah, I would like to add a point on the revival of Nalanda and observation, which I think is that I think we need to offer something which is very different from what Harvard, Oxford offers, or else what is the point and why would people come to study the same thing here? So there must be something which involves Eastern thought integrated along with technology, which would be unique to us. That is point one. And I mean, like, despite having, even if we revive Bihar and we have very great conditions, but we offer the same thing as what the West offers, then, why we would only end up becoming an alternate source for Harvard or Oxford, but we would probably lose originality, and that will only run for a certain period of time. That is one observation. And second is, like, I think that the ultimate goal of people coming to study in Nalanda from other countries is a very far-fetched one and not very easily achievable. And the immediate goal that we only can think about is self-sustenance by reviving this university. And that will kind of stand only if we have something very original.
Have you been to Bihar, Monica, before? Ever?
No, but I have been in conversation with a lot of Biharis.
Okay. And it's not just Bihar-centric thing. Even in UP, in MP, how safe do you feel walking alone at 9 p.m. at night?
I think safety is a very relative term.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be absolute. That way, you are not safe anywhere.
No, that's not
But
the case. I mean, I will not say that.
see, I come from Hyderabad, and I feel relatively less safe in Hyderabad when compared to Mumbai.
Of course. But if you were to
But
compare, let's say, Croatia with Hyderabad, or somewhere in Montenegro with Hyderabad, again,
yes, so
relative
it's
speaking.
it's very relative. And see, that way, I don't think you're even safe in your houses that way, because most of child molestation cases
Okay.
happen within family members.
I'll just start from factual standpoints. Just log into the embassy of UK right now. If you have the time, you can do that after later. UK embassy, American embassy, they all have travel advisories against India. Safety is a concern in India. I'm not saying this, those embassies have said this. And I'm again accountable when I say this. You can do that right now. Do we have similar advisories for other countries, be it Croatia, be it Netherlands? There will be advisories around heat warning or something. But they have mentioned rapes as one of the concerns. UK has done that, America has done that. Of course, we can ignore it. But the fact of the matter is, how will you convince parents in America or Italy or Japan to send in their kids to study in Bihar at this stage? Securing life and liberty is the first responsibility of any state. 2 weeks ago, a 9-year-old girl was raped in Madhya Pradesh. Not just raped, but also, I think, thrown into the river. That's not just one-off incident, has happened multiple times across states. Law and order is an issue. Look at West Bengal. It's concerning what's happening in that state. UP, concerning what's happening in state. Of course, we can debate on what's needed, what's not needed, but at the end of the day, I know it's a curse of capitalism that people do their educations for the job. They don't care about East Asian studies. As long as they can get a job, afford a 1 crore or what, from studying in those universities, they will take up those courses. That's the reality. People do MBAs, people do master's degree for those reasons. They want jobs. That's the reality. There are more JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley will open branches in New York, not in Bodh Gaya. That's the reality. How many McKinsey offices are there in Bihar at this stage? Not many, or none. So education has to be interlinked with employability at least in 21st century. If people are not safe to study, if people are not getting the jobs, why would they go there? But of course, that's not the concern for today. We'll discuss it with logic and rationales as and when we proceed with the journey. Shubham, off to you.
Yeah, hi, sir. Just like you said that there are people who will take basically studying for the job, right?
Sorry?
Then this way. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I was saying that you made a point that people are studying for job. I think that is very right to some extent, but this question comes in my mind when I see you, okay, and there's two other people like you. And why you people are doing this, right? Why? This is a why that I get in my mind, right? I also did certain kind of things, right? Because I like it. Okay, I love
Hold
doing
on,
that. I
let me
did
correct
that.
my thoughts. So what I said was, and I'll quote it again, I said it's the curse of capitalism that today people study for jobs. That's the reality. Ideally, in an ideal world, I would not want that. This quest for money, money, money alone, it's a disastrous thing. The first question is when we ask which university, which job, it's about from where will I get make the most money out of. That is the curse of capitalism. Money is not wealth. There's a distinction. So tying education entirely and solely with money, it's roads to dark ages. And mind you, dark ages lasted for 500 years. Many times when you are stuck in jobs, you also lose rationality, big picture thinking. And as in when we discuss Marx, we will see how they are becoming and turning into modern day slaves. And that's not a good thing when you lose rationality. Loss of rationality was the reason why we moved into Dark Ages for 500 years. But okay, I'll come back to you. I think you raise your hand. Prerna? Shobham, I think he raised his hand again. Okay. So I thought I should correct myself. That's what I said with a caveat.
Yeah, even after the caveat, if I to talk about like the people like you, I think so I have heard this thing a lot that there's a I think it is a popular video that I've seen. In that, basically they tell that okay, this is a time, there's a certain time frame, and with those time frames, there are certain generations attached to that, right? And those generations would have certain priorities to them, right? So first of all, like for some, job was the priority, right? Later, job was not the priority now for the new generation. I think that is Y generation, or maybe the current generation I'm talking about. So the priorities have shifted. I think that is also one of the reasons. Apart from that, so I mean, like your initiative, right? You see that there's so many people and so many aspirants, so many students who are like wasting your 20s, right? And because of that, I think this initiative, I mean, one of the reasons why this initiative is there is because of that reason as well, right? Similarly, we have seen that in some parts of world, right? There are people who are turning deserts to forests all by themselves, right? They're doing things. So basically, I think bring a change. I think individual people or a group of people or a bigger group of people has to take things in their own hands, right? And one thing that I like very much that the sentence you quote in most of the classes, that it is very important that good people occupy important positions, right? In any aspects, whether it is a privatized company or in a government setup, right? So I think this aspects are also playing a good role and are determining factor in basis that what will happen next in a particular setup. A little ambiguous, but yeah, that's are my thoughts.
Okay, good. Thanks for sharing, Shubham. Mamta, what's your question, thoughts?
Good evening, sir. Sir, so will we be having any session where we'll have a detailed discussion about the syllabus, sir? PSIR syllabus, or are we gonna head on start with the syllabus?
We'll head on. I think that this case debate around syllabus is nonsense.
Okay, sir.
We'll start with IR. Of course, I'll talk briefly about those syllabuses, aspects of those in bits and pieces, but I don't see the point of discussing, debating that for now. We'll head on and we'll go on to solving the questions thereafter. Prerna?
Good evening, sir. So, sir, this was regarding our classes on PSI that is starting from 29. I am also joining masters, and there are some classes which are between 5 to 7. So, I wanted to ask, while I watch the recorded classes, should I have something in my mind? Like, I'll be missing some part of it, like being in a live setting would be different.
No, I think there are many. So, ideally, I would want all of you to attend live classes. That's where the major learning happens. But if for some reason you cannot do it, my team will ensure that the videos are up within 24 hours. And as in when you watch through those videos, note down details, do the task, complete the work, write your blog, so on and so forth. Okay. And there are scenarios when people who have leveraged recordings really well, and they really performed well in the eventual examinations also. Tanushree?
Hello, sir. So my question is regarding reading newspapers. You always have told us to read newspaper for 45 minutes every day and not make notes out of it. But I keep bothering, how will we remember things if we are just reading the newspaper and not making notes out of it?
Yeah. Now for that, we have ready-made test series. We'll keep on revising, repeating things from test series. No need to redo the work. Some of us are going to become collectors, not collectors of books and newspapers. So the industry in the market of UPSC is filled with a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. You have to pick and choose what works best in our favor. If you were to make notes out of newspapers, you will end up writing and making notes every day for 2-3 hours. And it could be disastrous. I think my connection was weak. What was the last thing that you heard me say? Himanshu, what was the last thing that I said?
History of the UPSC was the last line.
Sorry? Tanushree, what was the last thing that I said?
We are to be collectors and not newspaper or book collectors.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, in the industry of UPSC, we have so many sources of information. Newspaper should be one of the mediums of that information. I don't want you to be in a scenario where you're wasting 3 hours, 4 hours making notes out of newspapers. Not needed. Some institutes have done that task for you already. Of course, there are monthly magazines. You can pick those magazines also. But my advice would be to focus more on those test series that I will talk about before your prelims. But until then, have this habit of reading newspapers for 45 minutes, the way I have discussed in some of the classes. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear me all. Can you all hear me? So in the interest of my self-esteem, I think we should end the class. Otherwise, it will keep on breaking up all the time. But do not worry, we will have multiple live sessions, almost all the live sessions. So I'll keep on taking your questions and we'll resolve your query as we go ahead and proceed in the journey. So I look forward to meeting you all in a couple of weeks. Okay, until then, continue with your GS preparation and do this limited amount of interesting homework. Okay, all the best.